So you've been advocating. You've been doing housing advocacy. I know, like fair housing cost because we've seen that it's very personal because they've been jacking up
Oh, yeah.
rents in the Orlando area, something fierce, and
Oh, yeah.
how I don't even know. Is this a local government thing? Do we? I'm guessing we probably have to get to some kind of local government level and try to get city ordinances with rent
Yeah.
control, rent stability. We know that your governor, unfortunately, isn't going
Yeah.
to do shit for you.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
and federally, they're going to just slap a band-aid on it and then give pork to the corporation. So how I don't know what the answer is. How do we fix this? And
Yeah.
oof, it's God.
It is a seemingly daunting task, but like one person said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And so I look at people like, for instance, he's in Rockfin a lot, and I see him a lot on Sabby Sabs commenting. Roger Meadows, shout out to you, Roger Meadows.
Shout out to Roger
Always talking
Meadows.
about, yeah, always talking about ballot initiatives, and there could be a way to try to curtail that, especially in the state of Florida. If you It is considered illegal to have rent control on apartments that have a monthly rent greater than $1,200. But here's the problem: most apartments in Central Florida are now hitting $1,200
Right.
and up. So, uh, you know, ballot initiatives probably can help with that, which I need to look more into. But also, I'm looking at people like Shama Sawant in Seattle,
Hmm.
uh, council person Shama Sawant, who has done phenomenal work with trying to establish rent control in Seattle. So, I mean, if we are trying to do something on the local level, look at the model, of what Shama Sawant has been doing, and try to see if you can try to copy that model. And also, Shama Sawant is, independent, So as far
Perfect.
as trying to work within the independent or third party route, you can also definitely do that on the ground. Uh, because even though there's a lot of us who look at electoral politics as a fool's errand, especially within the duopoly, it could still be a benefit if you focus on local and you try to go either independent or third party to take over those city council seats in the city government, and maybe even state legislator and things like that, so that you can affect the local area. Because you don't, like, my motto always is leave the world better than you found it, but you don't have to change somebody's entire world just to make it better. You don't have to change the entire world to make it better. You can change somebody's world, and it could be just a few of your neighbors that you can help get rent control for. So there's different opportunities like that. So I
You
mean,
know, again,
start
like
start off small and just chip it away.
to me, mutual aid to me is defined as help the person next to you who needs help. And again, that's
Yeah.
that's something that you guys basically not I wouldn't say taught me, but kind of reminded me of exactly what
Mhm.
we're all here for. And
Yeah.
doing podcasts and doing all this stuff is great, but we're here to help the people that are watching, that are in chat,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
that are struggling daily. And
Hmm.
again, you guys give way more than you take in. I see that on a regular basis. We do the same. It's all about giving back and having enough for ourselves to live, but really the rest of it just goes right back into supporting everybody else because we're all in this together. I mean, and I think that again, you guys are just doing amazing stuff when it comes to that. So you got General Strike Summit, Disability Summit. You launched your own YouTube channel. I wanted to ask you who some of your favorite or most impressive guests have been, both on FHL,
Oh.
RBN, and as well as on your own
Oh.
channel. Because I know you've had some pretty impressive ones. I know you had the legend himself. You know, you got to talk to Doctor West. So he's got to be up
Yeah.
there. He would have to be up there just to sit and that's like going to church right there. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Cornell West was a really great guest to have. Deeply inspiring, and I honestly felt an imposter syndrome because the intellectual capabilities of someone like him, and I can't doubt, I cannot stress this enough, the intellectual capabilities of Nick. So it felt like I kind of felt like I kind of felt like a Padawan. And here's my nerdy side coming out. It felt like a Padawan in the Jedi Temple, and I was looking at a high-ranking Jedi Knight, which is Nick, and then I was looking at a Jedi Master, kind of like
like
that.
Yoda. Yeah, he's the Yoda.
Yeah,
He's a Yoda for
yeah.
sure.
And but then at the same time, um, you also have really great guests that I've had on that aren't that famous,
Right.
that are doing great work on the ground that people really like. You may even see like the view count as kind of low, but some of these people were some great guests that are doing some amazing things on the ground. Alan Axelrod, I mean, he's with the No Amarin shutoffs that is going on in Illinois, which is helping with making sure that people in Illinois do not get a utility shutoff in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
And he's been speaking at city council meetings and writing letters to J.D. Pritzker, who is the governor of Illinois, who is a huge neoliberal and a billionaire, and trying and actually having success in doing that. And so between people like him, Shama Sawant, which I also had the privilege to interview and have a conversation with. Shama Sawant is a badass, and I absolutely appreciate and love the work that she's doing. And shout out to Kamali Rose, who I've had as well as a guest, and he's a former RBN member. It was great having a conversation with him, especially talking about what's it called, building dual power, things like that.
He's a
And
philosophical dude. I'm a fan of Kamali. You know, he and I have had some
yeah,
good conversations as well offline. Big fan of his. Shama Sawant, total badass. How do we get
yeah,
more Shama Sawants on city councils? Because look at how much trouble one Shama Sawant that actually advocates for the stuff that we
yeah,
want to have. It's like, could you imagine
yeah,
if they actually did
yeah.
what we wanted them to do and what they said they were going to do in Congress? If there had been 8 Shama Sawants in there actually being a thorn in Nancy's side, man.
But that's the thing, though,
I
Indy.
know
I
you
mean,
can't get in there and do that.
Shama Sawant is a unicorn, and the thing is you can find a few more, but I don't want us to get in this headspace that just because we see somebody like Shama Sawant, that she's going to be the rule rather than the exception.
Mm-hmm.
Because what really drives politicians to do what we want? That drive typically comes from direct action. If you look at all the successes that we've had, the social as well as economic successes, it was due to direct action being that strong arm that forces politicians, even if they don't want to do what we want them to do, because there was this reverence of fear of the people that drove them to do what we wanted them to do. For instance, we literally got a racist to sign the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. We literally got a racist to do it.
Yep.
And so if we can force someone like LBJ to actually do it, then imagine what we could do with Joe Biden if we truly strong arm our way into saying, no, you're going to do this. If not, be afraid, be very afraid.
What
And
we've been
so,
saying. Mm-hmm.
yeah, But the thing is that that comes with having massive direct action power on the ground. The problem is that that has been cut and shade and stabbed with 1,000 cuts over the decades, because they know that that is what gets things done. And so they said, oh, all you need to do is just vote harder, just put in more progressives, and then you'll finally get what you want. And the thing is that they basically neutered us by making sure that all we did was just vote, when really we should have actually had our asses out in the streets like our predecessors have done in times past, because that is what works. The thing is that, and it's not saying don't vote, it's saying put all your power out there in the streets so that it scares the people into doing what you want. That's basically it.
Yep. And Liu Kang is saying in chat, it would require a significant amount of black voters opting out of the DNC in 2022 and threatening to do so in 2024, wouldn't it? And paired with direct
well, that's
actions.
Why we have
100%.
Yeah, that's why we have RBN. RBN exists for one of these sole purposes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and look, might I remind, you know, a lot of people, and even I was pretty skeptical of what Ice Cube was saying, you know, when he was talking about a contract with the black community. And the thing is, he said, we're not gonna, you know, vote for any one of y'all if you guys do not agree and carry out these demands that we need for our community. And really, truth be told, he was right for that. The thing is that you got a lot of people, particularly liberals, particularly black liberals, let's be real, who were shaming him because they had this Donald Trump derangement syndrome, and then they're saying, well, we don't want Donald Trump to stay. And the thing is, people don't realize that instead of having red Trump, you guys got blue Trump.
Mm-hmm. All day, man.
And so it's like, what's the difference? You know, and then people will say, well, but Roe v. Wade, what happened this week?
Well, that's because of Trump.
What about the kid? Yeah, right? But what about the kids in cages? What about the kids in cages? We still have the kids in cages. You know, what about Muslim ban? We still have Muslim ban. What about, you know, what about the virus? I want to make sure I don't say it directly because you know, I know
we're on Rockfin, but it's
monetization and all that. But you know, what about that? And it's like, well, wasn't Joe Biden and Kamala Harris the same people who were like, oh, well, you know, we're going to hold off on taking the jab because it's under Donald Trump. We're going to hold off. And yet nothing changed with any of the formulas for the jab at all. You know, it never went to a completely different company. It was all the same, except for now you have a new administration. And now suddenly it's okay. And so you have these, you know, people who talk about, oh, well, you know, as if Donald Trump is the greatest evil. And it's like, all of them pretty much are, because if you look at Donald Trump and you look at Joe Biden, they're both men of about the same age, and they were raised at the same, you know, type of era with the same type of values. And they have, you know, pretty much allowed themselves to be purveyors of white supremacy and racism and this debased capitalist, you know, type of ideology. So what's the difference? The only difference is one had 40 years of practice.
That's what I was about to say, 40 years of being a lawmaker, and the other one was 40 years of grifting on the entire. And you want to talk grifter? Holy crap! The guy who had no accountability, that declared bankruptcy 6 times, that just took fleeced bankers, fleeced everybody. And again, I was saying from minute one, if this guy made so many people wealthy, you know, he would be screaming and championing them on stage every day. We know that he didn't. All right, we know what this dude was about, and the fact that so many people were snowed and believed in him and are still so sycophantic to think that this guy still walks on water is remarkable to me. And anybody, again, this is why I know you're far from a right winger, because any right winger would be like, "What are you guys crazy? Trump's the greatest thing ever." No, No, he's not. And we don't. We're not Trumpers.
Yeah.
We are certainly never Trumpers because we were never Bidens. We were never Hillarys. We were never Trump. We were never Romney. We were never any of them. You know, I would go back the last Democrat that I was even. You know, we were pro Bernie, but even we realized Bernie isn't going to do what we need Bernie to do ever. And he's almost 80 years old. That time has passed. I can't believe they're actually talking about Bernie 2024. I love Jesse Jett, our creative director or our musical director over at INN now. I love him to death.
Mhm.
He wrote that Bernie song, and it's Shepherd of Hopes, and that's what he is, man. He is the strike killer.
Yeah.
And again,